Welcome to the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast.
Welcome to the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast. This is part number 2 of Ben and Ciera. Now I get the pleasure to interview Ciera. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. If you watched the first episode with Mr. Ben, you know he's got quite a past. And all this time I was thinking, okay, well, he was single, you know, and then he said, no, I had my wife and kids, and it's the same wife and kids that I got today. And I was like, wait a minute, really? You did all of these things while you were married? Yes. So, Ciera, okay, let's go back to you now. Like, where are you from? Ohio as well, or?
I'm from that same small town that Ben's from, so we grew up together.
So were you guys like middle school sweethearts or something like that, or?
High school.
High school.
Yeah, we got together when I was 15. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long have you been married now?
We are not married, but we've been together for 17 years.
You are not married?
Yeah.
Okay. You see, I didn't know that. I'll get to the score of things as we go in this conversation, right? So you've been together for 17 years. How old are your kids? Because I know you got a couple on there.
Yes, our oldest is 14, so I had him when I got pregnant at 18, had him when I was 19.
18?
Yep, and our youngest she'll be 9 here in a couple weeks.
Okay, good deal. I started very young too.
Yeah.
I have a 24, 25 now, and so I was 18. So
Yeah.
I'm 44 now. But all right. Where do we start? When did you get with Ben?
So we got together when I was 15. So he's 4 years older than me. So he was just out of high school when we got together. Our first our first date was four-wheeler riding. We're from a small town, so
Right.
took me on a four-wheeler. It was all hell from there, actually. We went on our first ride together. He took me up this really steep hill and then flipped us backwards. We fell all the way back down the hill on the four-wheeler. I went home bruised up, fake hairs all out. It was a mess. Mom was like, "No, you got to stay away from that guy."
Really?
Yes.
Really? And but you guys were hooked up already. I mean, like, you fell in love right away, or how was that chemistry?
No, I don't even think I know what love is at that age. I'm very introverted, I'm quiet, reserved, and he's the complete opposite.
Right.
So I was just attracted to, and he's good looking. He was better looking back then.
Yeah. He's not a bad looking guy. He's in shape. I've seen him exercise, and I've seen you too.
Yeah.
You guys hit the gym a lot.
Yes.
So, all right, and so you guys were together from a very young age, and what do you do after you graduated high school?
So Ben's mom sent him out to Illinois right around 1920 after he got out the army, got kicked out the army or whatever, sent him with his uncle to try and get clean. So I was still in our hometown in school, and I didn't have the best upbringing either. I grew up with my mom and my grandma. My mom struggled with addiction. My brothers and sisters were kind of split off with their fathers, or my older sister had a kid at a young age. So it was a unstable childhood. So I was looking for just ready to get out of that small town.
Right.
So his mom sent him to Illinois. So my senior year, I went like the hybrid virtual, and I just packed up and I went out to Illinois. So he was obviously using when we were in school together. I knew he used. I didn't understand, like, I'm 15, addiction and how bad he was. So in my mind, I'm running out of this small town to go live this better life, get away from the craziness. So when I got to Illinois with him is when I really understood the depths of his addiction. And
Right.
what it was.
Now, because you just told me about your mother as well, right? She had addiction.
Yeah.
Now, did you do any drugs back then?
Yes, but we.
Okay, but that's not really
Yeah.
drugs. That's just, you know,
I guess not.
Yeah, that's not nothing. But so your thing was weed, and his thing was hardcore drugs. How do you cope with that? Like, how do you tolerate it? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure it out. Like, because most likely they both do it. Like, and they're happy doing them together. You know, and they go get high and all these things, and they get their highs and lows. But he was doing hardcore things. You weren't really doing hardcore things. You were just putting up with it.
Yeah, but even at that, like at 15, at that age, like I lived with my parents, he lived with his. So our relationship was really when we lived in that small town together. I just didn't see him for days. He would be missing, like using for days,
Right.
and then we'd come back together and it'd be
Work it all out.
Yeah.
And he talked to you.
Yeah.
He's a good sales
to the
guy.
ears, exactly.
Yeah, he's a good sales guy. He'll talk to you and don't worry about it. I was just, having a 4-day binge, but it's all you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. It wasn't until I moved and we actually lived together and depended on each other is when it was really an impact.
And when did that happen?
That's when I moved to Illinois. So I was 17. That would have been in, losing track, I graduated in 2007. So right around 2006, 2007.
Okay.
Is when I moved to Illinois with him, and I went out there. He had went out there for 6 months before. His uncle got him a really good job. He was making like 25, I don't know, close to $30 an hour. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going out here. He has a house. It's going to be perfect. I get there. He does have a house, thank God. When I walk in, there's
But it wasn't perfect.
it wasn't perfect. No furniture, a mattress in the middle of the floor. He looks like shit and has no money.
Now, I will tell you this. I lived in an apartment for a little bit. Oh, the only thing I had was a mattress.
A man thing.
I'll be honest with you. So, and I'm going to be completely open here in this podcast about the strategy on the mattress, okay? Every time I brought somebody back to the apartment, there was nowhere to sit down. We had to go lay down, okay? So, it's like, hey, that's all I got. And they were like, okay. So I knew I had to lay down the spot, right? So, good on bed, right? So, but you guys were together already. And so so when you get there, this guy has no furniture, he has no, he looked like crap, all these things. Did you go get a job?
Yeah, definitely. So back in my hometown, I always worked.
What was your first job?
My first job was McDonald's.
Okay.
And then I got my nurse's aide license at 16 and started working at a nursing home. So I did that up until I left and went to Illinois.
So you left McDonald's. How long were you in McDonald's? For a year or so?
Yeah, probably a year.
Then nursing home.
Yep, nursing home.
And were you handling old people or sick people?
Yep, nurse's aide. So daily basis bathing, feeding.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, you gotta have a big heart for that.
You really do.
Because that's not easy.
It's not at all.
Wow. So
Very fulfilling.
and then you went to Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of work did you start?
So when I went to Illinois, I got into school. I was going for nursing, and then I got a job. I was a customer service rep at Kmart. So I did that for I think like a year or two.
Kmart. Do those things still exist?
No, not that I
They
know.
went under, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I still like Kmart.
Yeah, it was not too bad.
Yeah. So you worked in Kmart. What after that? What happened?
After Kmart, I went and got like a sales position at like a magazine, selling magazines. So I did that, and then I got pregnant. So I was 18 when I got pregnant, and then I ended up quit working and was really stay-at-home mom while Ben supported us for.
Right. While he tried.
Tried to support us.
Yeah, while he tried.
Yeah.
And how long were you a stay-at-home mom for?
Not long. If I'm trying to think back to Illinois, we were probably there for a span of a year and a half.
Yeah, we have guests.
Yes. We were probably there for a year and a half. So I had my son, and then right around 9 months is when it got really bad with Ben's addiction. Okay, I'm in this state. I have no family here. He's not changing anytime soon. We have eviction notices. We can't pay our rent. We can't buy food. It's time for me to take my child and go back home. So it was 2009. I think it was actually February of 2009. I ended up moving back to Columbus, and I just hey, I'm leaving. You can stay here, or you can go. He came. He had nowhere to go,
Right.
So he came along with me to Columbus.
Got it. You leaving? Okay, I'm gonna follow you now.
I have no home.
Can you take me too? That's funny. All right, so it's funny now, but it wasn't funny when it happened. I can only imagine what's going through your head, because you got 2 children now. Two,
At that point, it's
one,
just our son.
one, right? You had a kid, and you're like, man, what is this? So, okay, you left. He followed you back, and what did you do when you got back home? Do you go get a job?
Yep. So that is when, as soon as I got back home, I think within 2 months, I joined Chase, and that's where I spent the next 12 years.
Wow. At the bank.
Yep, at the bank.
And so when you joined, what did you do first?
I started as a call center rep, making $11 an hour. Yep.
Okay. And then at the end,
Just climbed up, and at the end, by the time I left, I was doing risk management, and I was making my salary was like $120,000 a year.
wow. Yeah, they do make good money after a while.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah.
They put you to
Wow. And why did you quit the bank?
So by the time I'm at the bank making that amount of money, Ben's through recovery, he's going down the real estate journey, I'm like resistantly coming along.
So
with
in
him.
reality, you were supporting your family for a very long time.
Yeah.
You were the head of the house.
Financially. Financially for a long time.
Financially and your responsibility too, right?
Mentally, everything.
Yeah.
I helped us. What I would say is like there were a lot of years that I helped our family survive, but now we're at a place now where Ben's helping us thrive and go further than I even thought. So he's like our rock now.
Sure, I get it. I know you guys are a power couple, right? So, and I know you guys are doing amazing things, right? But at that time, man, like when he's not, 100% because he's, getting into drugs and getting in troubles over and over again. How do you cope with it? Like you as a woman, right? Like you're paying the bills for the most part.
Paying the bills. My family didn't know what I was like. I did not tell my family, Ben, how bad his addiction was. They didn't know for a year. So I'm paying our bills. He's missing still at this point, like he's in addiction. So he's missing for days. So we have a son. So there's times where I'm going to go pick our son up I have to leave work and go pick him up from childcare because Ben never showed up. How do I internalized a lot. I honestly, I look back and I'm like, shit, I don't know how I got through all that. Between trying to climb the ladder, take care of a kid, and then wonder if
take care of him.
Take care of him and wonder, is he, like, I wouldn't see him for days. Or is he dead? Am I going to get a call? Am I going to get a knock at the door? Like, it was mentally draining for many years.
Well, I'm not going to ask that question because it was love all the time and you loved the guy. Otherwise, you could have walked away so many thousands of times.
Definitely.
It's crazy. And the beautiful thing is what you guys are doing today is just amazing.
I really believe that God put me in his life. I was his angel at that time. Yeah. So,
You still are. Because, in reality, addiction, you've seen it, people go through it 20 years without doing drugs and they relapse, right? Hopefully this will not happen in your case, but ever. But it was hard, man. Like, and I wasn't there, but I got to hear his story, and he was very open about it, like detailed. Like, this is what I was, this is what I did, and you're stuck with him this whole time. That shows a lot about you, and about the love you have for Ben. Wow, I'm so amazed.
Thank you.
Honestly, I am, and 99.9% of the women would have left him. Probably within a year, and you stuck with him for years. I mean, this is a problem that happened for many years for both of you, and your children as well, right? Now, when you quit the bank, this is what year is this?
that would have been 2020. I quit the bank.
Oh, 2020. So
Yeah.
you guys started in 2015 in real estate.
Yeah, I was still working, climbing in corporate. Yeah.
And you gave yourself a good 5 years to where, you know what, let's see if this thing is for real. Let's see if we can get a lot of properties. Let's see if it works well before you let go of the golden handcuffs because you were making good money.
Yeah, honestly, between 2015 and 2019, before we went into the all-in mentorship, I really wasn't on board. His primary in real estate was flipping. I had no desire. I have no interest in any of that now. Yeah, the money was nice at the end, finally 6, 7, 8 months later, but I had no desire in that. It wasn't until we focused on the lead gen part where it's okay, that's operations, and that's where I
That's what you're good at. Yeah.
That's what I'm good at. That's when I was okay, I can get into this.
Wow. And so you quit in 2020 during the pandemic.
Yeah, I quit in February, and then we shut down on my birthday, March 23rd.
Wow. Oh, you're March 23rd.
Yes.
Are you Aries?
Yes.
My wife is from the 26th.
Oh, nice.
And I'm on the 9th, April. So, yeah, we're two Aries together.
How's that work?
Yeah, it works. It works. Because usually on your sign, you go by the ascendant, which is your Aries, but then your ascendant is something else. So that's what makes the difference.
Got it.
But anyhow, okay. So what made you quit? What was the reasoning behind you letting go of a 6-figure job?
Yeah.
Even I get it. He was making money and all that, but you had a different deal because that's something you work for.
It's something I worked for, and it's something we never, like, for many years, like, we didn't have stability, and we didn't have consistent income coming in where we could pay our bills and have a little extra for security. So that was always just my goal. It's like, okay, I need that corporate security, even though there's not security.
There's no security.
Yeah, at all. But at that
it's
point,
a false sense of security.
It is. So really, I got to that point to where I was working from home. I'm making $120 a year. At this point, so let me back up. I worked for Chase for those 12 years, but in my last year and a half, I left there and went with my boss to a fintech startup company. So I was working from home. I was like my own boss, did whatever I want, made good money, but that's when the problem came, because I'm like, okay, I have what I thought I was working for, and I am not happy at all.
Wow, fulfillment, so it wasn't fulfilled.
At all. I was depressed, I was crying every day. It was scary because it's like, dang, I'm here, and this is not what I want, and I don't know what it is that I want. So it was a scary time, and then at that same time, Ben was struggling with the, fixing and flipping, and hey, I don't want to be in it.
He needed help.
Yeah, I don't want to be in that every day either. So he saw me struggling, he's struggling, so that's when he really started to invest and learn about the wholesaling piece, and then he brought me into that and said, hey, I think we should really focus on this. It'll be good for both of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you guys joined the All-In Mentorship when?
We went to Momentum in November of 2019. We joined their mentorship then.
Right.
We went back there in December. We're here in Phoenix for the Mastermind Deep Dive, and then we started up our business. I think we got our first office December 31st. We signed the lease on our first office.
Wow. And how was that transition from you quitting the job to getting into this whole real estate wholesaling, the operation side? What did that look like?
It was honestly pretty easy because I really, at this point, right, we're everything. We're just starting the business, so we're wearing every hat. So I just transitioned my work ethic in corporate to starting up this business. Honestly, where I struggled in our business was not needing to control and do everything myself. Hiring and needing, allowing others to come in and help. I can't do it on my own. And I struggled with that because I'm such a control freak. But transitioning into our business was easy. It was just like, okay, instead of putting 60 hours in here, I'm going to put 60 hours in my business now and focus on that. So that was the easier part. I think the harder part was just us learning how to partner together in a business.
How to work together at the end of the day and then be husband and wife, I struggle with that sometimes.
That was probably the harder part, but we really focused on partnership. Obviously we're completely two different people. He's CEO, visionary, I'm integrator, so that helps out a lot. And just really lining, here's your roles, here's your responsibilities, and setting those boundaries and trying to stick to those have helped us.
Wow. So you enjoy most of wholesaling, I would say, right?
If you ask me, when a deal comes in, we're wholesaling it. Then we're flipping it or keeping it as rental. I get we need to buy our rentals for our long term and all of that. So I'm on board there, but if I have the choice of wholesaling or flipping, just wholesale the damn thing and let's move on to the next.
Let's go, that's what I do. So how does your operation look like in the office? Because I know Ben is out there thinking about, let's go get 100 rentals, let's go get $6 million in revenue, let's go do all these big things, right? So he's pushing the boundaries up, right? He actually talked about that with the rents because they operate like that. Okay, I gotta get $1,850 for rent when the market rent supports $1,750.
Yeah.
But the same thing goes for revenue. Same thing goes for the amount of flips. How do you keep that under control? Because he can spiral out of control by that growth, right?
Yes.
So you're holding the fort down.
Yes, that's exactly right. So I would say our office looks like we have in-house, we have our sales team, 2 acquisitions in-house, and then we have 3 lead managers that are virtual. And then I have 2 virtual VAs that work under me. We did have a TC and a dispo, had to let them go, so we are hiring for those positions. So as of right now, I take on those roles as well. So I do the normal COO role, systems, processes, KPIs, making sure that whatever Ben decides that the company's going to do, we can implement that, which is chaotic. But right now, I'm also handling a TC and a dispo role as we hire and
So you're selling the properties yourself. You're doing all that.
Yes. Now I'm also a licensed realtor, so I list our properties, and then I will occasionally help.
You do a lot of work.
Yeah.
You have no life right now.
Wow.
Yeah, because you put all these hats.
Exactly.
And how do you balance that? Because that's a lot of work. You guys are doing a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Right? It's a lot of flips, a lot of rentals, a lot of wholesale deals, a lot of leads coming in.
Yep.
You know, getting mad when the lead doesn't get attended right away. I know exactly what you're talking about. So how do you manage to balance that part of your life, which is the business, and your family?
Great question. I would say our children probably suffer the most right now when it comes to getting the attention from mom and dad.
Yeah.
We do keep them very engaged with the business. We definitely have a huge opportunity to spend more quality time with them. So that has been our priority this year, is to make sure that we are removing ourselves out of the business. So although I'm wearing all of those hats, I spend a lot of my time at home with the kids doing that. Like, I'm not in the office with the team. We're headed off to Florida for the summer.
You guys travel a lot. I know. I've seen you.
Yeah.
I've seen you in Cancun, back to back. I've seen you in Florida. I've seen you in Phoenix. Like, I love it, and that's what I like a lot about both of you, because you guys travel together. You go to the gym together. You know, you're always doing things as a couple, right? And I like that. I admire that, actually. You know, I wish I could do a lot of those things with my wife, but I got 2 little ones, so she's looking after them, and that's why I'm here by myself. But so you're scheduling. Do you schedule time with your children? Like, do you put it on the calendar? And like, how do you do that? Like,
yeah, usually our weekends at this point, we're not really doing any business on Saturday or Sunday. So I probably for the last 6 or 7 months, we've been able to really, weekends are for our kids. And then we also have his mom, who is just, she's been a lifesaver. She's like a ride or die since the beginning. So she's here at the house a lot helping with the kids. But
awesome.
yeah, weekends are with the kids, and then I'm able to shut down on my end like around 5 or 6.
okay, early. That's 30.
It's not bad.
Yeah, especially for the amount of work you got.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
do you start early, or?
My VAs are a blessing, for sure. They do a lot, but yeah, we're probably up, I'm like right around 6. So we used to be like up at 4 to the gym, to the office, but 6 o'clock is my wake up and.
You know how, guys, we got some visitors here. They're about this size. Because the guys love leaving the doors open. I don't know how I'm gonna sleep tonight because I'm sleeping in this house. So it's gonna be ugly with me trying to kill these mosquitoes. But so I will tell you, if you allow me, how to buy your freedom.
Please stop it.
You need 10 VAs, not 3 or 4. You need 10 real good VAs that will do all the listings for you, comping, properties, you know. Of course, you gotta train them, right? And that takes you a couple of months, but after 2 or 3 months, you are free. We have, how many VAs we got right now?
Now we're two?
Yeah, in our team.
Around 20.
Yeah. So they do everything. They buy the houses, they sell the houses, they do the TC. All I do is I coach them. That's it. Like, let's say you're gonna list one of your rentals, right? And then you got a VA that all they do is market analysis for rentals. And they come to you and say, well, Ciera, I know your rental is coming up, you know. Do you think $1,850 a month is? And you look at it and say, yeah, $1,850 is what it is. Or you go say, you know what? Let's go push it to $1,950 because we see that the market is actually going up. But that's all you do. You tell them what to do and they go do it. Because they're wired for executing and doing what you're asking them to do. Right? So that will save you at least 75% of your time. And now on that 75% that you got free, now you can work on getting your process better. You know, like you start thinking, because you're in reactive mode right now as a COO. Right? You're like putting fires. Yeah, I gotta hire this boy, I gotta hire a TC. You call the title company. Is the title ready to go or not? You know, does the lender, did they send the, paperwork? So you're doing a lot of stuff. I can see how, because I did it. I was that guy too, dealing with the title company, dealing with the seller, with the buyer, with the flips, the contractors. And at some point, because I was a control freak as well. But at some point I said, man, is this worth it? Like, working my ass off like this, yeah, I make money, but eventually it's not even about the money anymore.
Yeah.
It's about the being free.
Yes.
Like, this is why we do this,
Exactly.
to be free.
Yep.
And the day I understood that I needed to delegate, and I put that switch on my head, and I flipped it, that was it. Because then I said, you know what, I'm just going to share more of the pie, and I'm going to hire all this army of people, and I had a call today with my right-hand girl, Carla, and I said, Carla, we need 20 more. And she's like, okay, what do you need 20 more for? Because she's the one in charge of finding them, right? And she's like, I'm like, look, I need 5 more acquisitions, I need 5 more dispos, and I need 10 more lead generation. And in this order, this is how we need them. And she's like, okay, I got it. I will go work on it. So we were gonna go from 20 to 40 people, and so we can throw more money marketing because the system works already. So now we just need to incorporate it. But if you want to be free, you hire a bunch of those guys. And look, something I realized in the U.S., we have great people, right? They speak great English. They learn fast. But there's too much mediocrity.
Yes.
And I just got tired of that. I will hire somebody thinking they're going to be a rock star, kill it. And 2 things happen. They either learn the business and left because they want to do it on their own, or they were just happy with making $2,000 a month.
Right.
And and I'm like, man, you got the opportunity to freaking kill it.
Yeah. That's literally why I had to let our TC and our dispo go. Is that they were okay.
They
with
were
just-
complacent.
Yeah. Yes.
You can't have that because otherwise, how do you really push through your numbers, right?
Yeah.
How do you go from 250 to 500? Yeah, it just. But what I find is with these people overseas, man, they're hungry.
Yeah.
They're like, give me more, give me more, give me more. Like, I can do it. They work the weekends and they're up late, they're up early, and if you pay them well,
Yeah.
they'll go to the bottom for you.
I just need to do it. What you're telling me, I know. Like the VAs I have are freaking awesome. I'm here for you, Ciera, whenever you need me. It's that part, like just like you said, okay, in the U.S., okay, they are able to pick up easy. They speak good English. So I have to spend more time up front with the VAs. But in the long term, I know it will benefit me. But I think about so you guys spend that more time up front, training them on these.
Well, one of the things that I can see on you guys is that you probably have to learn how to be okay with imperfection. Yeah, because both of you are high achievers now, right? And Benny's there, so I'm looking at it. It wasn't until I learned how to do that I was able to grow. Because I wanted everything to be freaking perfect. Like, I would walk by a cabinet and it had a little line on it. I was like, you gotta paint this. And I would go stick blue stickers everywhere, right? I was a rehabber.
Yeah.
On the wholesale side, not so much. Even sometimes I'm okay when they lower the price of a property, $5K, $10K. If it was up to me, I'll keep it there because I gotta maximize the profit, But Caesar comes to me and says, "No, Ricardo, we didn't get really any offers. This was the only offer we got." And then I go, "Oh, okay, no big deal." So learning how to deal with that stuff, it's sometimes hard for all of us.
Yeah.
And then when you learn how to deal with that, you're like, you know what? It's not gonna be perfect anyways.
Yeah.
My mother told me that one time. She asked me, and this is a lesson that I learned for many other things. My wife wanted to have kids for a very long time, and I didn't. And the reason why is because I was waiting for the perfect time. I wanted to have a house paid for. I wanted to have, cars paid for. I wanted to have all these perfect scenarios that were taking a long time to accomplish. My mother called me one day and said, "Ricardo, how come you guys don't have any children yet?" And I said, "Well, Mom, I'm like waiting for all these things. I'm trying to do this and that." And she said, "Son, the time will never be right. Just think about it." And I went back and I started reflecting on it. And then I thought, you know what, I'm being selfish by not giving my wife what she wants, which is a baby. Now we got 2 beautiful ones. And it took us 8 years before we had and the other thing is I had a daughter already when I was 18. She's 24 now, so I was being a little selfish, but I was using that perfection thing as an excuse not to have babies But then later on, I understood that that translated into my business as well, because I was trying to have my business perfect.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as perfect.
Yeah. That's really good feedback. I love that.
Yeah, so we just need to learn how to be imperfect.
It's okay.
Taking massive imperfect action. How about
Yes,
that?
there you go.
But all right, so now I love the way you think, by the way, and you're an integrator. You're making things happen. You don't understand Ben is like pushing boundaries. He's the visionary. He wants to go conquer the world.
Yes.
And which is it's perfect, because that's why great people do what they do, right? Like Elon Musk, if he didn't think about going to the moon and landing the rocket, standing like it's like, really? Not even NASA did that, So guys like him are the ones that make great things happen. And I can see how the balance works in between both of you now. You hold the fort down while he's like, let's go here and conquer, we gotta buy all the houses in Columbus and this and that, right? So anyhow, going back to the dark days, right? When he was, going through all these drug addictions and all these things. When he relapsed, what was going through your mind? Like, man, he just went 144 days clean. I remember that number because he just, not even 30 minutes ago he said that, or almost an hour. How do you handle that?
Yeah. He actually relapsed at a really, no time was a good time, but I was in the hospital having our daughter is when he did that relapse.
Wow.
So he was actually there for her birth, which was great, and then he went home to get me clothes, and I had not heard from him for hours. So his mom was here watching our son, and I had called her, and she said, hey, he came in, asked me for some money, and he said he was coming back to the hospital. And we didn't see him I'm in the hospital with our daughter. We didn't see him for a whole day. He came back the next day.
Wow. How mad were you?
At some point, you're just numb. It's just like...
You got numb to it because you were used to it.
Yeah.
Now, you were also happy because you just had a daughter.
Yeah.
So maybe that helped
Yeah.
cope with, knowing that your husband, I know you're not married, but you guys been together for so long now, and you got a couple of kids. And I ask you this because I don't know, right? That's a tough situation to be in, on both ends.
Yeah.
Because then he's also thinking, man, I just messed up, right?
Yeah.
I just went 144 days and relapsed. But I guess that was a wake-up call for him too, to change his inner thoughts on, now I need to go open up and seek for help.
Exactly that. Just going to rehab and then coming out and going through the motions wasn't enough. Like, I need to really invest in the recovery. Was definitely a wake-up call for him. After he ended up coming back the next day, I got out of the hospital, and I think we probably went like another week or two of him using, and it got really, really bad. So I ended up just taking the kids and going back to our hometown for the weekend. And it got bad to the point, he's selling stuff out in the house. Haven't heard from him. He ended up calling me that night, and I think he talked about it with you, but he called me that night. He's like, I'm just ready. I'm just gonna end it. I'm done. I've tried. I can't do it. So we talked like that night, and I just remember telling him, like, hey, you have kids. They love you. They want their dad in their lives. You can get through this. It's gonna be okay. And we talked for several hours, and we hung up. And at this point, I'm 2 hours away. He's back at our house. I ended up driving back with his mom that morning, not knowing like what we were going to find. But he was there. He stayed home. We ended up talking. He did not go back to rehab after that. He just committed to working the program, and that's what he did. And he's been clean ever since.
Wow. So now, fast forward, 2021, 2022 now. You guys are doing amazing things. You're doing rentals. You got fixing flips. You got a wholesaling operation that's not perfect, like everyone else's
Right.
operation
Yep.
that's not perfect. Even your mentors, Carlos and Sal and Alex, they just revamped all the things, right? We shut down for 3 months. shut down.
Wow.
Like in August last year, right after that mastermind thing, I got back to Houston, and in August we had over $1 million in assignments to collect. And I was freaking fired up about it. I was like, oh man, we're gonna make all this money. And the guys were like, happy about it. And guess what? We fell short. We did not collect all that money that we were supposed to collect. We didn't even get close to it, which is even worse. And at that point, I knew how to make some drastic changes because the money was there. Imagine getting the roadmap to the gold mine, and you get in front of the gold mine, and you have the shovel on your hand, and you just gotta shovel a little bit, and boom, you hit the gold, and you can't get to it. And you're like, man, what's going on? And you throw all the incentives. You guys go sell all these properties, I'm gonna pay you X and whatever, and you're gonna be happier than ever. And at that point, that within September came around, I was doing my eventing in October as well. I was very occupied with the event. I went and cleaned up the house. So we had a whole, our office was in the office, like everybody, acquisitions and dispos, they were all in the floor. I had a big bullpen. I just went there one day and I said, guys, you're all fired. That was it. With the exception of you and you. One of them is this guy here, Caesar. The other one was Shane. And Shane is no longer with us. He used to be our CEO at the time. And shout out to Shane, by the way. He's still my friend. I love Shane. But I had to make changes. And then so we got rid of those guys. And looking at the vision traction organizer that I was talking with Ben about earlier, I thought about quitting too. Like I was like, I'm just gonna quit this because I just don't find the answer. Like how do I keep people in the office motivated, hungry, and I will do the morning huddles. I will do all of these things that we all talk about, right? That we learn in masterminds and I've implemented everything. And yet still it doesn't work. I don't get it. Is it me? Is it, you start questioning everything you do. And I'm looking at my vision traction organizer, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, okay, I gotta quit focusing on the negative. I gotta focus on the positive. What has worked for me for the last few years? And after looking at that, two names came up on my VTO, Carlos and Carly. And guess who they were? VAs. I said, man, this guy's been with me now 5 years. How come I haven't put more effort to help them grow? At this point, it wasn't even to make them do my stuff, because they're nowhere around acquisitions or dispositions or anything like that. But I thought that if I can help them grow more than what they were at the time, they could help me fix acquisitions, dispositions, and some other things. And that was a game changer. I focused on those two guys, and those two guys have now over 80 people under them. In all the different things that we're doing. They're making more money than ever, like they've ever seen in their entire life. And but it was because of that BTO, because I was able to recognize the good within that process that worked forever. That's why I highly encourage you guys to look into that. That we've able to do this now. Now we're virtual 100%. Our office is literally, I used to have a storage unit. I sold my house, and it's like a 5,000 square foot house. I put in a storage unit. Okay. So half of my office is that. So because I killed the storage unit, put it in my office, because I cleaned it out. It's 3,000 square foot. There's just me and him, and a gym. We put a gym in the middle. We need to get a 6-pack. I got a 36-pack right now. So, but I love having these conversations because you guys are successful, right? But as successful entrepreneurs, you still have your struggles. And you were open about it. You said, you know what, I just have to let go of my TC, my dispo, and I'm putting all the different hats right now. And I'm thinking, poor Ciera, she's doing all this work, and she's also an agent, she's listing properties. But this is what people don't talk about.
Right, trying to make it look glamorous.
Oh, you just see the checks. You got $50,000 assignment. Buy me a Rolex, whatever, get the new Lambo. Yeah. But they don't say, you know what, man, I just have to shut down. And that's why I like Carlos and Sal so much, because they're really open about what they do. Yeah. And we shut down in January because we had Shane. That's when Shane left. What I did is I built a VA team around Shane, but Shane couldn't get adjusted to that. But the VA team was actually performing. So at that point I realized, okay, Shane is going on his own. And I gave him his wings, and he graduated. Like, he's killing it now, which is crazy. Yeah, he's awesome. But sometimes you have to do that. You have to shut down so you can start over. But you start ahead because all your knowledge, all your experience, you already have that.
Exactly.
It's just not, okay, hold on, let's clean out the house. You just did that with TC and dispose, and you're now going to rebuild that side, right? What goes through your mind when you find yourself in those situations? That you learn from the best, number one, because these guys are the best,
Yes.
and the group that's around us is top notch. You know, even the investor led cartel, because you see the other guys and you're like, that guy's not struggling like I am right now, right? That's an internal conversation we're having, right?
Literally, when we leave mastermind, that's my conversation with him. Like, what the hell are we doing wrong?
Yeah, now you're not doing anything wrong. It's just that some of them don't tell the truth, okay? Or they don't open up. You know, it's not that they don't tell the truth; that they just don't open up, right? When you find yourself in that situation, how do you keep yourself together? Like, you know what, I gotta move forward. Like what's that process for you?
I guess early on, it probably stressed me out. Like, it's not the first time we lost a TC or a dispo, so we've been through that turnover, and it probably stressed me out early on. Now, to me, like you said, but it's just business as usual. It's like, yeah,
you're done.
Yeah, get in there, do it, find the next person to bring in. It's part of doing business.
And let's talk a little bit about self-development. Something I didn't touch on with Ben. How much of that you guys do?
So we invest probably about like six figures a year in just mastermind, self-development, working on ourselves. I mean, that's number one. Like, the business stuff will come. You can hire a mentor and copy their blueprint. That's what we did with All In. It was great. All of that can come. But if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the right relationships, that's going to be your barrier. And that was, I mean, to be completely honest, that was ours for a little bit starting out. It's like, shit, we had the blueprint. We can implement this. We can take the action, but we had to get our minds right. That's what was stopping us from scaling and getting to where we needed to be and be the great leaders for our team.
Wow. Now, you got a morning routine?
I like
Not
to say
really.
I do. No, it happens for a few months and then it stops.
Okay. Why is that?
I guess it just depends. Like, I just recently had a surgery, so I haven't been
Okay.
able to.
Well, that's a great excuse.
Yeah, that's a wonderful excuse. I wasn't able to work out for 6 weeks, so
Right.
that just put a damper. For the most part, I'm up, and I'm always. The gym is my first thing. Like, I
Right.
have if I don't go to the gym in the morning, I'm just probably not making it to the gym.
Right.
I'm not an evening gym person, so I go to the gym. I did get really good at, like, when I was going into the office, I didn't go into the office until like 10 o'clock. I want to be home with my kids, get them off to school, and then go into the office. So that was really, I wish I could say, hey, I sat down and I read a book in the morning and I meditate. I do those things occasionally, but it's not consistent.
Yeah, it's not all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not. Do you think it's something that you need or?
Definitely. Right now, my alone time is on my drive to the gym. That's Ciera's meditation, but it works out for me right now. Yes, I would definitely like to be able to spend an hour of morning to myself, just getting myself right. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you guys live in a big house?
No, we just live in a condo, 2,500 square foot condo.
Well, that's big. That's big. 2,500 square foot is big.
I mean, it feels small to me. They're in my space.
So I'll tell you something I did because I found myself being inconsistent for many years, trying to get into consistency. And it's when I bought my house, the one I sold last year. I went and bought a house big enough to where I can put a gym on it. I went and put a reading area on it. I have an office, and literally had no excuse. Like, if I woke up, I had to go exercise. I actually gained a lot of weight after I sold that property because even though I moved into an apartment complex that it's got a badass gym, and this thing is like state of the art, right? Beautiful pool. I didn't have the gym right at my fingertips. So I started pounding and gaining weight and gaining weight and gaining weight. And I exercised, but I didn't exercise as much as I did when I had my house. And the other thing is I enjoyed the environment in my house to where I did the hour power. So when I got up, I went in the morning, I put on Tony Robbins, I got the gym equipment there. I wasn't trying to lift 100 pounds or anything like that. I was just doing my thing, going through the motions. But thank God, when I was going through my downfall, in between 17 and 21, I had that gym. Because I don't know if I'd be in real estate today if I didn't have the gym and all the hour of power that I did in the morning. And that thing changed my life like you have no idea. And lately I've struggled with it because my little kids jump into my bed and I don't rest. When I wake up in the morning, I'm tired already. So the last thing in my mind is going to the gym. I'm like, man, I just want to sleep 10 more minutes without it. Like, I literally take a 30-minute nap after they go to school. That way I can feel rested and then go to work. And that's why we build a gym in our office now. So in the office, there's no excuse.
I love it.
Literally, for me to get in my office, I have to go through the gym. So, so maybe when you go from your 2,500 square foot condo into the big house that Ben is going to go build you guys, then you put a gym in there and something that creates the space that you're going to like, and you're going to be like, you know what, this I can do every day anymore.
Yeah, definitely. We're headed to Florida for the summer, and hopefully we're not coming back. So if he just gets me on the beach, then I can go for beach runs, and that'll be perfect.
Well, that's another thing, right? You guys travel a lot, and when I see you on your travels, that you actually get up, you're in Cancun, and you're exercising, you're hitting the gym, you're still doing consistency when it comes to getting the exercise in, and of course, personal development. You're around a bunch of rock stars, right? And leveling up your game. But Ciera, thank you so much for opening up to me and telling me your side of the story now. Man, I love you, both of you guys, man. You guys are awesome. And I hope a lot of people get to hear your message and to hear, especially Ben's story, because I know he can help a lot of people.
Thank you.
Attendgrowth.com, guys. June 24th, 25th, 26th. Guys, we're gonna have a massive lineup over there. I gotta see you there, guys. We only have 15 VIP tickets left. We got about 100 general admission. Looking forward to see you there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ciera.
Thank you.
Bye.